And here's another thing we weren't sure we could do in time. We were asked, one of the questions last year from fans was, what can we do about Robotech the movie? And how many of you remember this? Robotech the movie from 1986? Okay, some of you don't know what it is. How many of you have never seen it? Okay, here's 90 seconds of something interesting.
In 1999, an alien spaceship crashed onto the Earth. Hidden on board were the secrets of a unique science known as robotechnology. Databanks found in the ship were transferred to the Earth's Robotech computer complex. In 2009, an alien search party arrived from hyperspace to reclaim their lost databank. The United Earth government was forced into an intergalactic war. Earth forces were able to win the first battle, but at a great cost. The planet was virtually destroyed. New population centers grew out of the ashes. It is now 2027. A second armada sent by the aliens is nearing Earth. They have come to recapture the secrets of their lost technology, and then destroy the Earth.
Okay, so that was the. Can anybody tell here that Carl was a big Star Wars fan? Actually, Samia, didn't at one point Carl work at Lucasfilm?
Yes, absolutely. He worked on the first Star Wars film, and he was working in marketing. He marketed that film, along with Charlie Lippincott.
Oh, the first Art of Star Wars book, wasn't that like part of his doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that, and you know, you remember how much everybody loved Robotech Art 1 back in 1985. So you can kind of see the fingerprints of Carl's influences and his style of just presenting things to fans. So so that's on the. Now here was one of the interesting problems that held it up for a long time. Was the rights to Robotech, Megazone 23 had expired, which was one half of the, well, actually not one half, strictly speaking from running time, it was 2/3 of Robotech the movie. And then we were actually discussing with ADV about possibly reuniting the rights, because at one point they had the rights to Megazone and they had the rights to Robotech. So some fans thought, hey, maybe they might be able to release Robotech the movie. But unfortunately, ADV had gone out of business. That became impossible. And one of the things that happened as part of that bankruptcy is nobody was really sure what happened to the rights to Megazone 23. Did it revert to Japan, or is it stuck in bankruptcy court? We weren't really sure, and we couldn't get that resolved in time for the release of this home video from A&E. So what we did was, one of the things that was suggested was just a hard chop down to half an hour of the material, and it would have made absolutely no sense. And this was actually kind of an interesting suggestion from Carl, was if it ever came to that, he just thought, oh, no, it's really easy. You can just take the material, and it's very easy to edit back to become its own linear story. And what ended up happening was taking that advice to heart. We actually moved some of the scenes around to make it a little bit more easy to follow, a more self-contained story. And some fans, in a funny way, actually thought that the half-hour version of the Robotech the movie was easier to understand than the 70-minute version. But anyway, it's there. And one other interesting segment in the home video, and actually I'll show you this, this is interesting, is how many of you know the difference between the surround sound version of Robotech and the old stereo version? Or the remastered audio versus the old audio? All right, everybody else, the exit is right over there. All right. Okay, so we now know who the hardcore fans are. There was a little bit of discussion and controversy when Robotech Remastered came out in the mid-2000s. And that was that when the audio was remastered in 5.1 surround, you know, we had to add new sounds to surround the user. Some of these sounds were different, some of them were new. And it wasn't exactly the original experience that fans remembered from 1985. But the really hardcore fans know that there was a different audio track in March 1985. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Okay, you guys are cool. In the first airing of Robotech, the soundtrack to Robotech was incomplete because they were still writing the music. And when it went on to air, the first time it aired, it had an incomplete audio track. And then when it went into reruns, by then, the audio was complete, and they made what was called a quote-unquote running change, which is they changed the audio, the sound effects, they changed the music mix, even some of the musical choices. And in some ways, it subtly changed the effect of the episodes. And for a long time, we thought these episodes were lost forever, this early version, the first broadcast. But lo and behold, there were a lot of fans who recorded it and watched it over and over again for themselves. And so the reason why we didn't have a master was, from the point of the view of the studio, because it was an incomplete work, when the work was completed, they took the old version and they just rewrote the final version of the episode over it without thinking of DVD extras, you know, 20 years later. That's what happened in '85. So what actually happened was fans actually contributed from their personal collections, and this is what made this possible. This is a very famous scene, but you'll notice it sounds very different from what you remember if you didn't watch it when it first aired in March 1985. But if you did, here we go. Before the Catastrophe music track was written. So if any of you heard the, you know, the really clashy violin piece, well anyway, it's not there. And it's funny, some fans actually prefer this music mix because it's more focused on the events of the episode. But anyway, there it is there. So now with this new set from A&E, you can get both the new and modern, and you can get the old, you know, like you're just watching your old VHS collection all over again. So you get both effects.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. So you can have it both ways now. And actually, I don't know if Steve Galloway is here in the room. Steve, is he here? Okay, I know he's here at Comic-Con. I just wanted to give a shout out to him. We've known him since the days of Tokyo Pop. Anyway, he is the architect of making this whole deal happen with A&E, so I wanted everyone to give him a little round of appreciation. So, and also, this was really important that this happened to keep Robotech available for fans, because when this came out last Christmas season, it was one of A&E New Video's highest grossing releases. And it was one of the highest shipping SKUs of the year at Walmart, and it had unprecedented sell-through rates. So it shows that, you know, even now, even though it's been out in the market for so long, new groups of fans continue to, rediscover Robotech. So that's available now. And also, how many here folks speak Spanish? All right, one of the biggest undertakings we had recently was trying to get the original audio track of Robotech available in Latin America. There was a huge uproar when it was released from ADV during the remastering process, where we had new audio tracks recorded in Spanish. And so we worked with the original actors to do the Spanish version of the Shadow Chronicles, and we got a little clip here for you.
Nunca podré agradecerte lo que has hecho por el planeta Tierra.
Me gusta pensar que también es mi planeta.
¿Tú estás aquí? Pero...
All right, those of you who understand Spanish very well, or have ever watched Star Wars in Spanish, we got one of the top voice actors in this business to record the leading role of Scott Bernard. Mr. Jesus Barrero, who did the voice acting here, he's also the Spanish voice of Luke Skywalker. So, and ironically, we had Mark Hamill working on the English version, so we had all our bases covered, if you're a Star Wars fan. And so that's coming out in Mexico, Argentina, and Chile throughout this year. So for our Latin American fans, this is also a good time to be a fan of Robotech. And of course, this is Comic-Con. A lot of fans are asking us, what about Robotech in print publishing? There's no denying the print numbers across the industry are declining. And last year we let everyone know that we were migrating the print library of Robotech over to ebooks, just because this is where future sales are going. And we had recently recompiled the original Robotech novels into these, what's called the omnibus editions. And so that was all available in ebooks. And one of the things is, the problem with the print market also is, with some of the back library material, the really obscure books like The Lost Generation, Zentradi Rebellion, anyone? From the Jack McKinney universe. Some of those books are so obscure that sometimes big publishers just really don't think it's worth having a reprint made of those books because they're so obscure. But the nice thing about ebooks is it gets past those issues. And so one of the things we're working on with Random House Del Rey is we're working on getting the other ebook books moved over into the ebook realm, including the Lost Generation books, starting with the Zentradi Rebellion. So see that coming soon. And also, we've updated DC Comics license to the Robotech to include electronic publishing as well. Last year, we had given the bad news that Wildstorm Productions, who had been previously working on the Robotech series, had closed down. But the nice thing that's happened since then is the majority of the employees over at Wildstorm who stayed within DC Comics Time Warner, they've actually been moved to Burbank to a new division called DC Digital. So they're now working on the new trend in electronic publishing within comics. So we're glad that that's happened, and we're hoping that pans out to more Robotech, albeit in the electronic publishing realm. How many of you are RPG fans? All right. Many fans were very happy that Palladium was back for the newer role-playing games for Robotech. They tried an interesting experiment. When they first picked up the license, this is when Tokyopop was riding really high with their format, and they experimented with that, having the large hardcover size and small tankobon, or the little mini manga size for the RPG books. But this is interesting that we discovered when those RPG books came out, is when you have little tiny volumes, if anybody's ever read manga, is because those pages are so light, what will happen is the weight of the page is not enough to keep the book open, and so as soon as you let it go, it slaps itself shut. When you're playing a role-playing game with others, you expect your books to be open to rule, page number 92 with whatever rule you're looking at. And so after they discovered this from extensive user testing, with the new generation, they went back to the large size, which Steve is demonstrating right here. Way to go. Yes, it holds itself open. There you go. Almost. And what we got here is a rough draft and the near final artwork for the next volume that's coming out. It's called The Genesis Pits. This is about the infant in deep space, and this is going to cover the what we would call the in-between, the era that occurred during the Sentinels storyline in Robotech. But we're going to be focusing more on the aliens and the expeditionary force. And so this is going to be Palladium's new next book, and we're very excited about that. Now, here's one caveat that came up. They licensed this from us about 5 years ago, and their license is about to expire next month. So they better get this book out quickly.